Sedition, surveillance, and do we need a new poll? This week's big issue in the Bangkok Post. This is Dave Kendall with The Big Issue, a video companion to the hard-hitting column by legendary Bangkok Post columnist Alan Dawson. You can read it every Sunday in the Bangkok Post print edition, the e-newspaper, or at bangkokpost.com. This week, Alan writes, the Nida poll, arguably the best of all the worst polls on earth, announced who had won its straw vote as the next Prime Minister. Shock, surprise, laugh, all in one on who the winner was. It was indeed General Prayut with 32.24%. Kunying Sudarat of Pheu Thai was second. Democrat leader Abhisit was third, and interestingly only 4 percentage points behind him, Thanathorn, a future forward, at 10.08%. Alan, what does this poll really tell us?
I think approximately nothing. Since the coup, the not very dependable polls in Thailand have become quite undependable. I think that this is probably honest in the sense that the only name people have seen for the last 4 years in politics is General Prayut, and they would think of him right away. And then the leaders of the two major parties following. So in that sense, it's honest, but in another sense, it's meaningless.
You also write the most outrageously crazy event was when a highly motivated patriot, Army Colonel Burin Tong Brapai, was pleased to act as Hunter Hatchet Man and officially filed the details of the massive law-breaking celebration held by Pheu Thai party members and supporters. One of the charges is violation of the Criminal Code Section 116. That's planning the overthrow or inciting rebellion to overthrow the legal authority or the monarch. Now, on face value, that might seem a stretch. But two of the other violations mooted are the prohibition of all activities by political parties and that of gatherings of 5 or more people for political purposes. Now, wasn't this news conference political? If you call General Prayut's trip to Buriram a couple of weeks ago political, then surely this Pheu Thai news conference was political.
Yeah, I think that really a lot of this does smell of hypocrisy to a large amount. The Prime Minister has been out addressing very large crowds, obviously politicking. He claims that it's government work, which it also is. However, the political parties are banned by military law, not by law, from doing any politicking and, of course, from having groups of more than 4 people. The charge of sedition is very interesting because this regime has charged more than 60 people that we know of with this very, very serious crime. And yet there's been no attempt to overthrow the government, and no mob has risen up in response to the so-called sedition calls. So I think that maybe this is a little bit overboard in law enforcement, and maybe it's time to free the political parties and let them have their say.
Finally, you write, the Ministry of Defense, the only ministry controlled by a world-class writer of coup technique and master wristwatch collector, is going to track foreigners, all of them, including tens of millions of tourists. Well, foreigners do commit a lot of crimes, don't they? Several arrests made the news this week. What's wrong with tracking them? And General Prayut said part of the goal is to combat human trafficking. Isn't that a worthy aim?
Yeah, that's very nice that the military is now against human trafficking, and I'm being sarcastic about that because the military has been involved in human trafficking cases, but they have nothing to do with normal immigration. The 35 million tourists, the 3 or 4 million migrant laborers, the million or so resident foreigners who stay in Thailand and work. This is not a job for the military. There is a very large, pretty competent immigration bureau, part of the police department, and that's their job, not the military job. The military accumulating a database of every single foreigner in the country does sort of make you wonder if maybe the military is planning on staying around and running things in the country indefinitely, if not infinitely.
Alan Dawson, big issue columnist, thanks for joining us. You can read the column in the Sunday Bangkok Post print edition, the e-newspaper, or at bangkokpost.com. What do you think about the poll prediction, the sedition charges, and the surveillance database? Leave your comments below or on the bangkokpost.com website. And join us next Sunday for another big issue in the Bangkok Post. I'm Dave Kendall. Have a great week.